Alright, let's check out the new for 2017 Fox Knives Amico. This is a knife designed by Fox Knives, and this is actually a USA produced knife. Fox Knives has run their knives before in a factory in Italy, such as a Fox Knives Anzo Zero, which was a Genzanzo design. This was out of an Italian factory. But this here is a USA produced knife from Fox Knives. So that's what makes it special. If you're familiar with the Boker Patriot that was run previously, I think about a year or so ago, that was actually out of the Fox Knives factory in the US. So this is out of the same factory as the Boker Patriot, so it does seem very similar in construction, and it's got the same steel, it's just a bit of a different design. So this being the Amico means that we have the drop point style blade. There are 4 versions of the Amico. This one has a drop point style blade. We also have a version of the Amico that has a spear point. There is also a Warncliffe version, and then also the one that's intended as a rescue knife, which has a sheep's foot blade and serrations. Now the Fox Knives Amico is very simply constructed in the fact that we only have FRN handles. We do not have any nested stainless steel liners. We have the pivot, the lockback mechanism, and there are 2 screws for that. So we have a screw for the pivot, a screw that operates part of the lockback mechanism, and we have a 3rd screw which attaches the pocket clip. So very simple construction. 3 screws basically holding this knife together with these 2 FRN handles, and there's no stainless steel liners. There's a little bit of flex in the handle, but I don't think that this knife will fall apart on you. The Amico is targeted as an everyday carry knife, and at 3.5 inches in blade length here, we're looking at something that is pretty standard in the EDC community for people who don't have a 3-inch blade length restriction and don't want something as long as maybe a Spyderco Endura or any of the cold steels that have larger blades. So speaking of which, take a look at the Spyderco Delica next to it. We're looking at something that's a little bit bigger than a Spyderco Delica, but then if we pull out the Spyderco Endura here, we'll see that the Spyderco Endura is a little bit larger than the Amico. Now, as far as texturing on the FRN, I would say I prefer Spyderco's texturing opposed to this Fox Knives texturing that they have on the FRN. It's nice to have a little bit of smooth spots here too. That is one of the advantages of the Amico. But the FRN texture, I think, on the Endura and the Delica is just a little bit better. Now, what's also really appealing about this knife is the price. This comes in at about $60. I got this on Knife Center for $60. And so you're getting, for $60, you're getting 154 cm steel. You're getting FRN construction with no stainless steel liners, but you're also getting something out of the US. And so I think for $60, that's not bad. Now they went with 154 cm steel, which was also in the Boker Patriot. I'm not sure why they didn't go with the powdered metallurgy version, the CPM 154 versus the 154 cm. Maybe it was part of keeping the cost down. So let's go over the blade. So again, we have a drop point style blade here out of 154 cm steel, deployed with thumb studs, or you can kind of pinch it open as I've been kind of doing because it's a little bit easier to do that with this knife than it is to actually use the thumb studs. I'll get into that as well. So here on the blade, we have Fox Knives with the little Fox logo, and we have very bold letters, USA. Again, 154 cm steel. Here we go. Again, we're talking about that this is in the USA. This is actually out of Washington State. And this actually is designed by a custom knife maker, I believe, called Mike Vellenkamp. Not familiar with his work, but I looked up. He is a custom knife maker. So there you go. Going down here, we have a little bit of jimping on the spine of the blade, a little bit on the thumb ramp, and we also have a choil, so you can choke up on this, or you can hold this knife further back on the handle. This is marketed as a pistol grip handle. It's not the most ergonomic, I'd say. This is decently ergonomic. This is a little bit more uncomfortable when choking up, especially when using the jimping there on the spine. But that may vary based on your hand size. That's just how it is for me. The pocket clip does create a bit of a hot spot, and it's one thing I wish they would have done something a little bit different with. For one, this pocket clip kind of reminds me of some of the cheap Walmart knives you sometimes see in the Walmart aisle from Ozark Trail. It's also a little bit long of a pocket clip, doesn't really need to be there, and that's part of why it creates a hot spot when you use this knife, is that this pocket clip could have been shorter. I really wish they would have went with something that was similar to the Fox Knives Ends of Zero design with that loop over and a little bit shorter of a clip. I think that would have suited this better, but this is what they went with. It's not terrible, it's just not my favorite. It's a little, got decent tension, not very deep carry, but that's okay. Swappable tip up left or right, so good job on the fact they are considering people who want to swap it over if they're left-handed. You have a small lanyard hole on right after the pocket clip, which should be fine for putting paracord through. Again, no liners, just a lockback mechanism in there. Pivot construction, you can take this apart if you want to. There's no bearings or anything in this. It is relatively smooth. I did wear it in, so it does drop shut, but deploying it with the thumb studs is not as easy as using a spider hole. You can flick this blade out, but it does kind of require a little bit of wrist. Lockup is okay. There's a little bit of side to side, but no up and down, so the lockback is strong. Again, yeah, not the most ergonomic blade, but I'm also comparing it to a few Spydercos. And that's why this blade has been difficult to like as much as another blade. I really bought this in the intended use of this is going to be something I take out hiking or camping because it's lightweight. It's got a decent steel that shouldn't develop too much rust. I mean, it's not, there's no miracle steel out there, but this should hold up pretty well in a camping or hiking environment. But after carrying it, just opening and closing it and bringing it out on a hike one day, it just, I don't think it's going to see as much pocket time as I suspected, because there's a Spyderco Manix 2 lightweight, and this is just so easy to open. Really enjoy the ball bearing lock. I can open it right or left-handed very easily, and you can always, well, it's a little bit hard to do on camera, but you can always swing shut the knife with the ball bearing lock. Even though this also does not have any nested stainless steel liners, this handle feels a lot more solid. And even though the wire pocket clip isn't anything too fancy, I think I do prefer it, and it feels stronger. It just looks a little bit better in my mind. And the Manix 2 lightweight with the BD1 steel, that comes in around $80 for about $20 more. You get the Spyderco Manix 2 lightweight, or you can pay even more and get one of the sprint runs that, they vary in so many different steels, but I think there's a CTS XHP. There's a, I think one that just came out from Knife Center. It's like S110V. So yeah, the 154CM in theory should be a little bit better than the BD1. But the BD1 isn't going to be terrible either, and I think that ergonomically, either back here on the handle or choked up, I think ergonomics for the Spyderco Manix 2 just went out. But I think this is a good competitor out there. I think that Fox Knives made a great effort in this. I think that if you like this design, and especially since they have such a variety of blade shapes, and they have some other handle colors as well, I think that it's a great offering. If you don't really like the spider hole, some people just, they really don't like the look of the Spyderco or that leaf, or that kind of leaf-shaped blade. So you don't want Spyderco, but you want something similar. well, Fox Knives has some USA versions out there. So how much does this weigh in? Let's take a look at that. So that's important for a knife of this design where you're kind of intending it as a lightweight EDC or outdoors blade. The weight comes in at 2.71 ounces compared to the Manix 2, 2.85 ounces. So it's a little bit lighter than the Manix 2. Very similar blade lengths in these, and similar design in the fact that they have the troil and the thumb ramp. I think that the Spyderco jimping is a little bit better on this. This is more wide jimping. It still works. There's no jimping down here in the troil. But yeah, there's a comparison. Very similar blade lengths, handle lengths. And they're similar in the fact that they're kind of both wide when carried. If you want something that's not going to be as wide in the pocket when you're carrying, I think you want to go for the Boker Patriot, because I think that's a little bit more slim. But yeah, they're both not going to carry extremely deep, and they're both reversible, tip up left or right. Different locking mechanisms. But yeah, that is the Fox Knives Amico. They have it available at Knife Center. I think some other dealers are getting them as well. Overall, yeah, it's a decent offering from Fox Knives. It's nice to see they're making some USA knives, and it'll be nice to see what they have in the future as well. So if you have any questions or comments, leave them down in the comment section below. Like and subscribe for more videos. I will hopefully be doing more traditional knife videos as well if you enjoy those too. But as always, thanks for watching.